Kevin Grace reporting to you from Baltimore. I'm in an area called Westport. I'm here at Mount Auburn Cemetery to pay my respects to boxing legend Joe Gans. He's known as the Old Master. On May 12th, 1902, he knocked out Frank Aaron to become the first black American boxing champion. He held the title from 1902 to 1908, and he also has the longest fight on record boxing match. That was September the 3rd, 1906 in Goldfield, Nevada, when he was defending his title against Oscar Battling Nelson. The May 12th fight against Frank Aaron, he knocked him out in the first round, and actually it was a rematch from their March 1900 fight that Joe couldn't continue because his eyesight was impaired. Actually, his eye was almost hanging out of its socket. He was thumbing the eye by Aaron's boxing glove. Unfortunately, the newspapers at that time were very racist. They would say that black boxers didn't have courage and they would run scared, and that was not the case at all. But Joe remembered the tendencies of Frank Aaron, and he timed it well, and he knocked him out in opening seconds of the first round. The fight was actually supposed to have been in Buffalo, New York, but it was moved to Fort Erie, Ontario, Canada, because they were afraid of a race riot. But there's so much information about Joe that a lot of people don't know. There's 2 books written about him. I have a Facebook page called Friends of Joe Gans. Subscribe to that and you'll see more things about him and pictures and things like that. And I'm trying to raise funds for a bronze statue of him here in Baltimore. There is one of him at the Madison Square Garden in the private skybox area. And a lot of people don't even know that it's Joe Gans. Joe was also the first black man in Baltimore to own a car, and he also owned a hotel here called the Goldfield that he hired a young U.B. Blake, 19-year-old, to be his piano player there. That opened in 1907. But there's a lot of information about Joe that people don't know. I've also been trying to get a postal stamp in his memory as well. But I want to also give a shout out to Keith DeWitt for being kind enough to maintain Joe's grave. It's an old black cemetery here, and it hasn't been really taken care of, and Keith comes out and he maintains Joe's grave, and also the veterans that are buried here as well. He'll cut their plots as well. So shout out to Keith DeWitt for doing what he does. I put some flowers here, and of course I bought these little windmill things to make it look really nice. But please let people know about Joe and spread the word. He is to Baltimore what Muhammad Ali is to Louisville.
Sitting here next to Joe Gans' gravesite on a beautiful summer day in Baltimore, Maryland, at Mount Auburn Cemetery, leads me to want to read to you a passage from the book, The Longest Fight, which I wrote. Joe Gans was, by virtue of the 32nd knockout of Frank Aaron in Fort Erie, Pennsylvania, in Canada, became the first black American to win a title. Not only in boxing, he was a lightweight champion, in any sport. Here is the passage. As they neared Baltimore, Joe and Al Hereford, his manager, Al was mentioning what a tremendous showing Joe had made. Joe didn't say anything for a long moment. Then he said wistfully, "Yes, Mr. Hereford, it sure is wonderful. But you know what I'm thinking? Hereford said, "What? That I'd give it all up, the money, the fuss, the championship, for just one thing." "What's that?" I asked. "For a white boy's chance in the world." Joe wasn't going to be invited to the White House. Joe wasn't even going to be recognized as the lightweight champion of the world in the white sections of Baltimore.